I got a bad kind of feel. My baby don't want me around in the way that she used to do. When she keeps something's missed. When she hold me in her arms, I believe she found someone new. But I hold on till the last love is gone. Oh, what else could I do? I got a bad kind of feel. My baby don't love me no more, and it breaks me down with the blues.
Hi, and welcome to Taboos, a new podcast about taboos, of course, and creative souls that meet here and
Thank
talk
you.
about a taboo they got. And they come, and today we have Fabian Robertsson here. I'm really happy. We met last time for the first time, we met in Gothenburg. And yeah, I'm so happy. And that was your band, the Rumbells, right?
Yeah, the Rumbells.
And the song is called Bad Kind of Feeling. I love it so much. I love the chorus so much. It's so intense.
For sure.
And since this is the first show, I have to explain it a little bit. I'm Jessie. I'm a filmmaker. I made a film called I Am a Creative Soul, where I met lots of musicians and artists on the way. It's a musically road movie actually about dying, living, and the creative process. And that is kind of a follow-up of it. So the guest, like Fabian today, Fabian is the bass player of the Rumbells, had to bring in a taboo he is dealing with in his life, or not even dealing with, or just a taboo topic he's interested in or dealing with. And yeah, we met by chance in a bar in Gothenburg. Manchester United were playing against whom?
Manchester City.
Against Manchester United.
Yeah, like a derby.
Okay.
Yeah.
So cool. And you told me you're a musician, and I love that so much because I love to meet artists that are not so well known yet, and this creative side and what they are dealing with in life, and how did you come to music? How did you decide to do music, and when did it started?
And my mother, for that matter, always played what I refer to as the good stuff. It's always been a part of my life, and just listening to it firsthand, but also what more can you do with music? Yeah, like obviously playing a band, not so much learning or mastering the instrument, just like playing in a band and being self-taught. And
you self-taught it to yourself?
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Playing the bass?
Yeah.
So cool. I love that. Yeah. And then you came to Gothenburg like 7 years ago and founded 2 bands. Is that correct? The Rumbells and a Swedish band?
I wouldn't say I founded any one of them, but well, maybe the Rumbells I was in from the beginning. I was looking out for a band to play with, and eventually I found a band that were gonna name themselves Howl. So I just wrote them, and I just went to a rehearsal place and met like 3 complete strangers, and eventually they hired me, because when you're looking for a bass player, you can't be picky apparently, because there are not so many bass players out there. So, but eventually we became really good friends, and then Howl was taken, so we had to come up with a new name, and we really dig deep, and we eventually came up with the Rumbells. And Rullande Dunder is my other band, and I just kind of joined them for a couple of months ago, and so, and they have already finished songs and stuff. So definitely weren't in that band from the beginning.
The genre name you gave your band is really nice too.
Yeah, garage soul rock and roll.
Yeah.
In the Rumbells, we play what we refer to it as. Yeah, it's like we're not reinventing the wheel in any way, but we take inspiration from garage rock and soul and rock and roll, basically.
Really nice. And
we clash it.
So cool. You can check it out. I put this down in the notes on YouTube and also on iTunes and Spotify, where you can find the music of the Rumbells. And now we want to hear more about your taboo topics that you gave your theme for today, and it is feeling lonely, left out, like an outcast, and not admitting it to yourself and others. So feeling lonely, I guess that's a feeling everybody knows. Yeah, why did you came up with this theme, Fabian?
It's always been an occurring thought or state in my life or in my mind especially when I was younger, you know, when things like belonging and being part of a group was, at least for me, one of the most important things. The thing is, I would consider myself to be a very, very independent in many ways, but being independent can only get one so far. At least for me, eventually it cuts up to me, and I still, to this day have where I feel like I don't belong, or I don't feel welcome in a certain crowd, or I'm still searching, you know. I still want to meet new people. I still want to get to know groups of, and sometimes I still can feel left out, you know.
What you are saying is that you feel lonely with others, not because you're alone at home and without anybody. You feel more alone when you're between others.
Yeah, I think it comes down to whether or not I choose to sit at home. Maybe I've gotten a call like, hey, do you want to join us for that? You want to go out and have drinks? And then I get to choose, like, no, I don't feel like it today, or yeah, maybe. It becomes an issue for me whenever I know that I'm being more like left out, when I'm the one you're not calling or asking.
Mm-hmm. But how do you know that you are not the one you've been called?
Yeah, exactly. How would one know? There's so many ways of finding out what people are doing. Sound like a stalker here, but no.
You know, this feeling lonely is one big issue that people in our society actually, and people, it's one of the number one topics why people do suicide. And why is it? And even I think you live in Gothenburg, I live in the forest, but you live in Gothenburg, so you have a lot of people around you, and these friends are not calling, you could even call other friends, right? But it must be like a cause before you feel lonely. What is the cause? What do you think?
Yeah, what is the actual cause? Fortunately, I'm surrounded by good people nowadays. I have like a really tight group of friends, but the cause of me feeling this way still is, I mean, when I meet new people, maybe that makes me a bit gullible. But just meeting somebody for the first time, I already put a lot of, I guess you can say, faith in that person, because I like being treated good, and I like treating others around me good. And it doesn't matter if we go way back or not. If we are connecting for just a moment, and all of a sudden they turn and they want nothing from me or whatever, that feeling like becomes quite strong in my head, and maybe I get like flashback from how it was back in the days.
So you know this feeling from your childhood, and
Yeah.
experienced it there the first time. Do you remember that?
Oh, very much so. I think it was more of a taboo for me when I was younger, but when you grow older, you can look at it in another way, and you can your relationship to it differs. But when I was younger, as I said, I was a searcher, I guess. I went around, I moved between different cliques, and why I moved so much was because eventually, in crowds, I felt like I didn't matter as much as other people in that certain crowd. And like can refer to it as social status. And it was not about being the coolest among them or the funniest, just getting accepted for who you were. And eventually that wasn't enough, I felt, when I was in, eventually I felt like I was the one that you could not call, and you could leave out without it having any significance on the rest of the group,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Of course, that makes
So
sense. I don't know if everybody had that in his life, in his childhood, that they were bullied or left out or not belonging to the group because of being smaller or fatter or more shy than the others or not so good in school or whatever. Could also be, if you didn't experience that in school, that you maybe experienced that at home with your family or
yeah,
sisters and brothers. So even the strong ones that seemed so strong and like the coolest in school maybe had this at home,
yeah,
and
definitely.
so I think, or from their parents. So I think everybody, it probably is created, that feeling of loneliness, in our youngest years.
Yeah, yeah, it set the bar. Everything you go through in your earlier days kind of sets the bar for who you will become and stuff like that. And that's why I still get flashes of this today, though I admit it for myself, but sometimes I don't feel the need, or I feel that it's a taboo to talk to them about it, because maybe I'm just being silly, maybe I'm being over dramatic about it. But for me, it's really important. And I guess,
What does it put on you? How do you behave when you feel lonely?
I think I always go back to myself. At least in the beginning, it's me. It's my fault. it's my, is there something about myself that I need to change?
So you doubt yourself.
I start doubting myself, exactly. But eventually, I think I realized that, I think I'm all right. I'm an okay person. Maybe I could have done that instead. If it's just, maybe I can pinpoint a certain situation that helped with me getting like left behind. Maybe that is something I can work with till next time. I'm happy with myself. I'm all right.
Yeah, but it still kind of touches you in a way, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How?
It's saddening.
Yeah.
Definitely. And as I said, fortunately, I can always go back to, okay, maybe that person or that crowd wasn't for me. I'm not alone, at least. And some people are. So, but that I'm happy for that. I play in a band. I do things. I do things in my free time that I want to be doing. And but yeah, I get sad. I start doubting myself, and I dwell on it. I'm a dweller also. I dwell, and either I put the blame on that person or that crowd. That's their, that's on them. Like, it's not my value. Or I just come to the conclusion that I'm a loser. I guess today whenever I pick up on, whenever I sense that they don't really want me around, I immediately just distance myself. Maybe I easily feel this.
You're sensitive for it.
Maybe I'm more sensitive, or maybe I'm oversensitive, but
highly sensitive, maybe
highly sensitive towards it. That might be a fact. That might be a factor.
That's another interesting taboo topic, this being highly sensitive. Because I think of myself, I'm highly sensitive. So you feel more, you get feelings of others easily, and so you react maybe earlier than you are supposed to, right? Because you feel things before they are happening also.
Do you question yourself in those moments afterwards? Do you dwell on it, or do you feel comfortable in that is a true feeling and it's the truth for you, so that is enough to?
For me, it's really a little bit different. Of course, I know the feeling of loneliness when I'm with people, but I have this feeling more with myself, kind of, when I'm feeling tired or exhausted and I'm home alone. I mean, I'm never alone, actually, because I have these animals and pets around me, but when I'm exhausted and tired, I kind of get bored or I have the guilt feeling of having to do something. And if there is no task for me to do, I come in this feeling of maybe I'm not worth it or something. I don't know. And then I feel lonely because I have nobody there telling me you're okay. Maybe. And then I dive into that for a while, feeling lonely, depressed. Yeah, I know that feeling really well. But I would say I have it more when I'm alone, actually. But I also know the feeling of really well alone. I love being alone on the other side, And so it's kind of an old feeling, like we said, from the childhood, like not feeling the connection with something higher or with friends. I don't even feel like to talk to friends in that moment.
No.
I just want to be alone. I just want to dwell in the feelings of loneliness.
Yeah.
It's kind of an artist thing, maybe too. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and out of this, when I get out of it, I mean, it takes hours, maybe sometimes nights or so, but I always come to a conclusion for me out of it. It helps me to find out something new about myself. It hurts and it's like dying a little bit, or it's like renewing, like a snake that gets rid of the old skin.
Yeah.
It feels uncomfortable, but after that I feel quite released of something as well. And if it is just the self-worth or connection with something more important than me, like connection with nature or the universe or my animals or whatever, or friends, it's the ego. For me, it's a little bit the ego that feels lonely and thinks we are separated from each other and from everything. And but I think it needs these times to, for me, to get rid of old beliefs of myself too.
Yeah. You dwell and you reflect, and whatever comes out from that is, as you say, like a new skin. And maybe there is a lot of positivity to get from that, because you leave out stuff that isn't necessary, maybe.
What I would say it's negative is that you or I judge myself for feeling not good, because I know so much about it. I know so much. I know ways out of it, out of feeling lonely. I did work so much on myself. I know myself so well. And then if I don't get it, I kind of judge myself. And that feeling is not really doing good. That makes the spiral goes down for a while. Till I say, stop it now. Stop treating yourself bad. Because
So it's more
all acceptable and it all belongs to us. And it's all there for a reason.
Yeah. Would you say that there is a stigma for you about feeling that you shouldn't allow yourself to feel bad?
Exactly. It's so interesting. I like that point, because I really think, or my real self really thinks, we should allow everything that comes up in us. We should allow and accept, and it's there for a reason, and to let it go. You can only let something go if you don't hold on to it, right? And is judging it and puts more focus on it. So it's better to like welcome it and then let it go again. And
as you said, acceptance is I think is a key word, because there is no value put into the word acceptance. Just it is what it is, kind of. But whenever you say you judge yourself, judge sounds like a negative thing. Like, so I think acceptance,
I love
or
the
whatever
word.
it is a key word.
Definitely.
And maybe to do with also not belonging or whatever. Not to trivialize that feeling. That's why I'm here. That's my topic. But I mean, acceptance of the current situation maybe is one step. If you're looking for a crowd somewhere, if you want to be somewhere else than where you are at the moment, try to find your path there. Maybe it's something to do in your spare time. Maybe organize yourself somewhere, whether or not it's sports or music or video games or board games or acting.
Getting creative is a really
Yeah,
good way of releasing things, painting or
yeah.
writing or writing things out helps also sometimes. Being kind to yourself, I think this is
Also a good thing.
really important. Treat
Don't be too
yourself
hard on
nice.
yourself.
Yes, because you treat other people so nice and then
Yeah.
be hard on yourself. That's not the way. And it doesn't matter anyways what others think of you, right?
It shouldn't.
Yeah, it
It
shouldn't.
shouldn't.
Right? So be your lightfulest self that you can be and spread your light and joy. And so if we allow everything what's there, then sometimes maybe people would say, oh, she's over the top. But who cares?
Yeah, perhaps. And what keeps me from giving it a second chance, if you can refer to it as that, is, I guess, to do with when I was younger. I kept at it, you know. I swallowed pride, and I remember very clearly I had a really good friend once upon a time, and we were like, you know, really close. But eventually, as I said, I wasn't so important to get in touch with me all the time. And so I talked to him about it. Like, I feel like you're leaving me out, and oh no, that was never my intention. And it was all good for a while. And then the same thing happened, and it's hard to not judge yourself by then, especially if you give it a second chance and not necessarily rewriting yourself and acting in another way.
Maybe you kind of expected it to happen again.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been bad of being the one who I'm not, like being somebody else that I am not. Maybe I expected it. Maybe that kind of affected the whole synergy. Maybe me expecting it to happen again, but also because I didn't change necessarily, because as I said, I was bad at it. I still am bad at it too. Maybe that's also why it happened. Like, I wasn't so important for that person that as he was for me. And I'm okay looking back on it. I'm totally okay with that, you know.
Okay, our time is over now.
Oh, yeah.
It was really nice to put it together. Feeling lonely, accept it. It's okay to feel lonely. That could be a first step. Allow the feelings, let everything be there, and connect again. Maybe try, give it a chance, and be kind to yourself, right?
Yeah.
With the feelings, and it comes up for us. We figured out it has a cause maybe in childhood, so maybe let this go too and be the brightest person you can be right now. And yeah, thank you so much, Fabian. It was
Thank
such
you.
a nice first episode.
That was a good talk.
Yeah, that was Fabian from the Rumbells.